Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. This is the brother Mattathiah from the GMS Virginia camp coming to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the true, holy, powerful name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being the true, holy, powerful name of his only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus and Christ. Bahashem is in the name, and Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. And it's going to be somewhat of a response to the situation that happened with, this guy coming up to Jake out there teaching on the highways and byways, and at this particular, location, looks like a park. And, this dude rolls up on him and, basically pulls out a strap on him, right? And I wanted to play a clip from the elder Bishop Manatazak, concerning his video that he made responding to Apostle Tahar's video. As you see on the screen, Edomite pulls a heater on an Israelite and E gets put to sleep. And the title of the elder Bishop Manatazak's video is Sound Advice from Apostle Tahar about camping. The title of his channel is Jacob Barak 2. Watch, subscribe, and be edified. I'll leave the link in the description box as well. All right. Because I'm going to say this, these situations are going to start happening more and more and more. And over the last couple months, we've seen situations very similar to this one, not necessarily with an actual weapon involved. Okay, but there have been weapons involved with various different situations that have happened amongst all the various different Hebrew Israelite camps. Okay, as well, knives, guns, okay, altercations without weapons as well, and we had a situation that happened at our camp while, the elder Bishop Manatazak was actually visiting our camp a couple weeks ago, about a month or so ago, a month and some change ago, which he speaks upon that. And I wanted to, say a couple things on that situation and also say some things on this situation that happened recently with this individual pulling out a gun on Jake while he was teaching. Okay, so without further ado, I want to play a clip from the elder Manatazak. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
And that's why it's nothing. We never knock brothers for training, apostles, because and Lord knows, countless times, we've been in situations where we had to do whatever we did at the camps. We had people pulling guns, threatening to come back, shoot us, threatening, acting like just recently down there with the brothers in Virginia, try to pull up like he had a pistol on him and all that. So, and in that situation, the brothers was alert, and we got to just be alert. And what Apostle Tahar is saying is a very important point. Where you camp at, be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, we had Jake come by our camp, and he had a problem with the sign, the 12 tribe sign, had a problem with what we were saying out there, and basically came up and tried to knock over the camera, or basically he was approaching us, with you could see in his eyes he was approaching us with ill intent, and to touch a little bit on that situation, we backed him up. Basically, the people he walked with pulled him away, so to speak. But, he also threatened us, said he was going to come back and do this and that and so forth, right? And later on in the camp, about 35, 40 minutes after that situation occurred, we see him approaching, right? Coming from across the street. And then immediately the Akim basically, noticed that, and, we took necessary means in that situation because Jake was walking up like he had a gun on him. He had his hand, in his pocket or his pants. He was approaching directly towards us. Okay. And, bros was on point, the situational awareness was there. And, that situation was handled, and I'm not going to touch too much on that particular situation. Right. And you also had a situation with the Baltimore camp, where Jake was, causing a commotion and disturbance in the name of Jesus Christ, playing loud music, singing in front of the brothers out there. And eventually, he attacked the brothers, right? And threatened to shoot, threaten to, to take violent matters against, the Akim out there, right? In which eventually, the police came, right? And so we're seeing situations. Well, I'm gonna say we're seeing these situations, and we're gonna see these situations more and more, okay, as the days and weeks go on, okay. And I've seen altercations the last couple of weeks or so with various other camps as well outside of Great Millstone. People coming up with knives. People coming up and knocking over signs, starting fights with the various different Hebrew Israelite camps. And these things are only going to continue. Okay, let's run that back real quick.
Right.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, and that's why it's nothing. We never knock brothers for training, apostles, because hey, and Lord knows, countless times, we've been in situations where we had to do whatever we did at the camps. We had uh, people pulling guns, threatening to come back, shoot us, threatening, acting like just recently down there with the brothers in Virginia, try to pull up like he had a pistol on him and all that. So, you know, and in that situation, the brothers was alert, and we got to just be alert. And what Apostle Tahar is saying is,
yeah, be alert. It goes into awareness. When you out there in the highways and byways camping, you just ain't out there with your hands in your pockets. You ain't just out there, I'm just standing out here in the streets and just surrounded with the brothers. I'm holding priests. Nah, there's a lot going on. Okay. And there's got to be a lot going on in your mind with the situational awareness when you're out there in the highways and byways. You're out there on the front lines. All right. Yeah, you're holding a precept. Yeah, you might be holding a sign. You might even be speaking, but you got to know what's going on. You got to know who's walking by, who's approaching. Right. That's why we have someone hold post on right and left. You got to be aware of these things. You got to, see and read people's countenance. Read, hey, this individual got to look on him that, look like he's about to do something. You might have to put down your sword. You might have to put down your side and get your sign, your particular sign that you're holding, and get in a defense position. Alert the brothers, the Akim. Hey, yo, watch this dude. Watch that guy. Like the individual that came into our camp the second time when he was coming like he had a gun on him. Immediately, Akim, were on that situation. Okay. And like the elder, the elder Malcolm was going into in his video, which I'll leave that link in the description box as well. Watch, subscribe, and be edified. He said, hey, once Jake starts reaching for something, man, hey, you got to be on that hand, you gotta be whatever hand is reaching, you need to put hands on that particular hand, right? Okay. Remove that hand away from his body because you don't know if he has a knife, you don't know if he has a gun, whatever the case may be. And also another thing, you can't let Jake get too close to you, right? You can't let Jake get a certain distance where he can do harm to you, right? I remember there was an MMA fighter in the UFC. His name was Chael Sonnen. Okay, I forgot what he said, man. He matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up. Bear with me one moment. I'm gonna pull it up. All right, I found it. I'm just gonna play the little clip off my phone. Lord willing, you'll be able to hear it.
Okay, that whole thing was created by some wimp somewhere about the other guy has to throw the first punch. Okay, the first thing you do, and remember this, if your dads weren't smart enough to tell you, if you learned how to fight from your moms or from your wimpy teachers in your liberal school district, you don't let somebody get within arm's reach of you when they got that look in their eye. You keep them back, and if they break the distance, you always hit them first. I can't let you get close.
You heard that? I'm gonna run it back.
Okay, that whole thing was created by some wimp somewhere about the other guy has to throw the first punch. Okay, the first thing you do, and remember this, if your dads weren't smart enough to tell you, if you learned how to fight from your moms or from your wimpy teachers in your liberal school district, you don't let somebody get within arm's reach of you when they got that look in their eye. You keep them back, and if they break the distance, you always hit them first. I can't let you get close.
Yeah, someone getting in your personal space, hey, you can't allow that, right? Because automatically, if they're in your personal space, hey, if you look away or you're not in a necessary defense or ready to take action, they have the upper hand on you. Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep playing a little bit more of this clip.
is a very important point. When you where you camp at, be aware of your surroundings. Like like you said, don't go you by yourself and you don't go in a park in the middle of nowhere with no one around. Anything can happen. So that's a good point that the apostle was making, and that's something that should be taken heed. And really, you shouldn't be, Howard Shai sent the disciples out in two. So
yeah, Jake, out there by himself, and you got a lot of, you got a lot of Israelite men that have that lone wolf spirit, which is completely off. If you're out there teaching by yourself, like the apostle and the elder is going into, concerning Apostle Tahar's video that the elder is responding to, you shouldn't be in the mindset of wanting to go out there and teach by yourself. Some of us started teaching by ourselves, but we weren't in a mind frame of, this is what I want to continue to do. Ultimately, we sought and wanted to be a part, of a particular camp, right? Or have brothers amongst us out there teaching on the highways and byways. Okay. It's not fun out there teaching, by yourself. You're the guy holding precepts. You're the guy, looking to the right, to the left, behind you, right? Holding signs. Hey, it's a lot to that, right? And that lone wolf spirit is completely off. Okay, and like the elder is going into. Hey, if you are out there by yourself, hey, don't go to no secluded areas, no secluded spot. Go to a public area, right? And this very well might have not happened if he was in a public area, outside of just being in some secluded area in a park, where this can happen and no one see, no cars drive by, no one be because if this was in a populated area, you damn sure someone's picking up the phone and then they're calling the police, right? Let's go to Matthew, the 10th chapter real quick. Let's go down to the 16th verse. It says, behold, I send you as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So we got to use wisdom. And, like Apostle Tahar was going into in this video, hey, you got to have some knowledge also of self-defense. Okay. You got to have some knowledge of how to defend yourself. Like, the elder Malcolm was going into in his video. Learning how to, certain techniques, the ground game. Okay. Because like he was saying in this video, the majority of all fights end up on the ground. And if you can't fight on the ground, you can't fight. Okay. And these type of situations are going to continue. Right. And these situations, they happened in the ancient world, in ancient times, which we'll get into some scriptures later on in this video. All right. Now I want to play a segment from the original video, where this particular guy, I don't know if he is an Edomite or a Jake, right? Because you got a lot of our people who are, they're not spiritual, and they see someone with pale skin and they automatically label him an Edomite. He very well could be the Edomite, but this individual comes up, and basically pulls out a strap on Jake out there teaching on how, in this, I wouldn't say the highways and byways, but this particular park area, right? So I want to play this, or a portion of this, real quick.
Oh, I don't care. Get out of here.
The turtle train.
All right, whatever.
What are you here for?
Let me get a precept. This is about the Bible here. If you don't have any questions regarding the Bible, get down the street.
What the fuck Bible, man? I'm from the turtle
train. This is Job 9:24. Job.
See right there, hey, first of all, he's too close to you. Just like the little clip I played of Shell Son and what, hey, someone getting too close to you is almost as if they already have thrown a punch. Okay. They're already a threat that close to you. They're in your space. Jake, unless you're ready for action, once you look down at your phone, you start reading, out of the scriptures, getting precepts, this, that, and so forth. He's got the upper hand. All right. You're looking down. He's close. He's in arm's length to throw a punch, hey, to reach for something. Okay. And, these are things that we have to know out there in the highways and byways teaching that going into that situational awareness. Right. Once Jake starts reaching for something, you got to take action. Okay, you got to get on that hand. All right, and furthermore, you can't let Jake get that close to you. I mean, you can't let anybody, okay, any particular person that comes up to you get that close to you. All right. Let's go into the definition of awareness real quick. It says a knowledge or perception of a situation or fact. Okay. You know, you got to use wisdom in these situations. You know, you got to have awareness. You have a situational awareness. Okay. You know, out there teaching. It says a concern about and well-informed interest in particular situation or development. Okay. It says a realization. Let's get into some of these words. An acknowledgement, knowledge. Okay, so this goes into knowledge, and we should have a certain level of knowledge in self-defense, a certain level of knowledge in situations like this on what to do, what not to do, right?
So 9124 what? You know who the fuck you're talking to? That's my turtle Tran.
Okay.
Okay? I'm fucking native.
Okay.
And you're gonna come talk to me and you're gonna tell me to fucking step, nigger? Who the fuck are you, nigger?
Okay, so let me read you something.
Who the fuck are you, nigger?
Let me read something to you.
Yeah? Go ahead, fucking read.
Let me read something to
Because
you.
you're gonna fucking preach, nigger?
Let me read to
and
you.
then you're gonna fucking talk to me?
Let me read to you.
Who the fuck are you?
First of all, you gotta calm down.
I gotta calm down, but you're gonna call me a fucking imposter.
Yeah,
You're
because
here fucking protesting
I am.
my
and I have a
fucking
right
clan.
to.
Yeah.
Can
But
I-
you're here
can I read
protesting
something?
my clan.
If you were here,
And then you want to fucking talk to me
If you were-
about disrespect.
if you were
Shut
here-
your fucking mouth.
if you were here,
Shut the fuck up.
I'm reading about the tribe of the
Yo,
Native
nigger.
Americans.
You think this is a fucking joke?
You're drunk. Calm down.
Drunk.
You're by 22 division. You're drunk.
I don't give a fuck, nigger. I'm a fucking gangster.
Okay.
Yeah, like Apostle Tahar said, you look for opportunity to throw that six-piece combo. Okay. You know,
Okay.
And you're here fucking talking about fucking naval, tribal fucking things?
You see this? This is live.
I don't
Be
give
careful.
a fuck.
You see this? This is how it is. This is how it is for us when we come out here. Hey, this
For you.
reminds
Oh,
this,
wait.
this reminds
Oh,
me
for you?
of Victoria and Dundas.
Oh, for you, right? You're a fucking black man. You're talking
So
about my
what?
fucking people?
But we're brothers. If you are a Gadite, we are actually brothers, and this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I come to
but
you
you're not
and I
listening.
ask you.
You're
No.
not listening.
Shut up.
No, I don't
I
have to.
come-
I'm trying to teach you.
You don't need to shut up.
Yo, bro. Yo, bro. Yo, bro. Get your cock back the hammer and bust your face.
yeah. So eventually, Jake, you know, gets the tool off of him. Okay. You know, and hey, well, you heard the rest, right? And he got the best of that individual that came up. Okay, and you know, the Lord was definitely with this individual, this Jake that was out there on the highways about this particular park area, whatever you want to call it, teaching. Okay. Now I want to play a portion of the Elder Malcolm's video entitled "Use Wisdom, Trust Yahweh Shai, and Never Let the Enemy Get Close or Have the Upper Hand." Okay. It says, use wisdom, trust Yahweh Shai, and never let the enemy get close or have the upper hand. The title of his page is GMS Maccabean Spirit 144. I'll leave the link in the description box as well. Watch, subscribe, and be edified. Okay. Let's back it up a little bit. And he is responding to Apostle Tahar's video as well.
Want to do this noble thing to be a police officer, it is so that they can hurt, control, and destroy Jake. And if you're watching the videos, you see a lot of cops using jujitsu on Jake, and Jake don't have no knowledge and no understanding of the ground, man. All right. And you are the target. You are the target, man. All the boxing and punching in the world is not going to help you down here. You know, your Philly shell ain't shit. Your jab, your cross, your uppercut is not going to help you down here. All right. And the truth of that, I'm going to just say it boldly. If you don't know how to fight on the ground, you really don't know how to fight.
Yeah. If you don't know how to fight on the ground, you don't know how to fight. Okay. The majority of all fights, even like this situation with Jake out there teaching and this individual coming up and pulling out a gun, where did the fight lead to? Where did the fight end up? It ended up on the ground. Okay. Jake subduing the weapon. The fight automatically went to the ground. Okay, which Jake got the upper hand on that particular individual and was able to get the gun off of him. All right. Let's run it back one more time.
Ain't shit. Your jab, your cross, your uppercut is not going to help you down here. All right. And the truth, and I'm going to just say it boldly, if you don't know how to fight on the ground, you really don't know how to fight. Because the majority of all physical confrontations end up down here. You need to know what you're doing. All right. Even if you just know how to escape and get out of these situations. Okay. So take heed to it, man. All right. When the apostle told you, hey, you need to learn that ground game, you really need to learn how to defend yourself, Jake. You know, because Jake got this obsession with boxing, like, you know.
Yeah. You know, and that's part of wisdom. Here it is, you're out there teaching, you know that, hey, you're going to be in situations, people are going to come up with contention and, you know, primarily our own people. The scripture says what? The servant is no greater than his master. If they have hated me, they will hate you also. All right. So this is part of our job description, that we're going to be dealing with these type of situations, dealing with hate, you know, from our people, dealing with people wanting to come up and kick signs, cause a disturbance, and even want to put hands on us. So, you know, a part of using wisdom is being ready for these situations and having a level of situational awareness. All right. I'm going to play this clip one more time.
They can shove it up their ass, okay? That whole thing was created by some wimp somewhere about the other guy has to throw the first punch. Okay, the first thing you do, and remember this, if your dads weren't smart enough to tell you, if you learned how to fight from your moms or from your wimpy teachers in your liberal school districts, you don't let somebody get within arm's reach of you when they got that look in their eye. You keep them back, and if they break the distance, you always hit them first.
Just like the title of the elder's video, use wisdom, trust Yahweh Shah. Never let the enemy get close or have the upper hand. Let's continue on.
Like throwing punches is going to just beat everything and get you out of everything. Man, most people don't have knockout power. All right. And most people that do get knocked out, all right, and I'm talking about just street confrontations, majority of people that do get knocked out is when they get sucker punched.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I've had experience doing working security jobs for, you know, casinos and, you know, late night spots in times past. And, you know, the majority of confrontations, you know, when you're dealing with someone who is intoxicated or not intoxicated, they majority of them, I would say 95% of them end up on the ground. All right. You know, very seldomly are you standing up, going back and forth in a confrontation for a certain particular time. And if it is, it lasts a very minute, very small period before it ends up on the ground. Okay. I'm going to read Matthew 10:16 again. It says, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. I'm going to pull out a couple more precepts as well. This is John 15:18. It says, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Okay, so we're despised out there in the highways teaching by our own people and by these other nations and these Edomites as well. And, you know, hey, these people got demons on them, and these demons see, all right, what you're doing. Okay. And we also got to understand that Esau, Edom, you know, these, you know, mainly concerning these wicked elites on down, these various different agencies and branches of these agencies have, you know, sought to frustrate us. Okay. You know, not only, you know, on the YouTube with our videos, etc., but also out there while we're teaching. And they have sent agents and spies. And when we're well aware also that there are agents amongst the various different camps. Okay. You know, and agents are sent amongst your camps to cause a disturbance. You might think it's just a bugged out individual, okay, but it very well could be an agent to cause a disturbance, to get you to react, to ultimately get you to do something that, can get you thrown in jail or prison, or Esau can use, to portray in the media. So we got to be mindful as that as well. All right. Let's go to, let's see here. Matter of fact, let's go to Luke chapter 20 and verse 19. It says, and the chief priests and the scribes, the same hour sought to lay hands on him. This is concerning Yahushua. It says, and they feared the people, for they perceived that he had spoken this parable against them. And they watched him and sent forth spies, which should feign themselves just men, that they might take hold of his words, that so they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor. Okay. Like the scripture says, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Now, some of these situations are organic. I believe this situation right here was organic. All right. And you just are dealing with bugged out individuals that have demons on them and just want to fight. Okay. They see the camera, they see the signs. Okay. And, they want to end up in a confrontation with the quote unquote Black Hebrew Israelites, which were just simply Hebrew Israelites. This is not a black thing. Okay. A dark skin thing, so to speak. Right. Let's go over to Galatians, the 2nd chapter, and let's go down to verse 4. And it says, and that because of false brethren unawares brought in. You got to understand that there also are agents, false brethren amongst the various different camps, including Great Millstone. Okay. That very well could be in on, these situations. They didn't give a certain particular, they didn't phone the agency. Hey, now's the time. Hey, send this is a perfect opportunity to make a situation, altercation happen, and here it is, we might not know that, an agent is amongst us. We might not be aware that, this situation that happens in the camp, the person you're standing next to is also in on it. Right. It says, in that because of false brethren unawares brought in, who came in privately to spy out our liberty, spies and agents, which we have in Yahushua Mashiach, that they might bring us into bondage. Okay. Because Esau Edom is looking for anything and everything concerning evidence against the various different Hebrew Israelite camps to use to demonize us. All right. To come against this wisdom, knowledge, and truth. Right. But like the scripture says, you can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. All right. So we got to use wisdom, be wise, like, the apostles and the elders on there are going into in the various different videos that have, been made on this particular situation. Right. Let's go to Ezra, the 4th chapter, and let's read this. Let's read this in the NLT. Okay. Because Esau is using frustrating tactics, okay, against the various different camps. This is Ezra 4:1, and let's read this in NLT. We're going to read down to verse 5 or 6. It says, the enemies of Judah and Benjamin heard that the exiles were rebuilding a temple to the Lord, the power Yahweh of Israel. So they approached Zerubbabel and the other leaders and said, let us build with you, for we worship your power just as you do. We have sacrificed to him ever since King Esarhaddon of Assyria brought us here. But Zerubbabel, Jeshua, and the other leaders of Israel replied, you may not have no part in this work. Yeah, you can't build with us, right? You can have no part in concerning the rebuilding of the temple. All right. It says, and have no part in this work. We alone will build the temple for the Lord, the power Yahweh of Israel, just as King Cyrus of Persia commanded us. Then the local residents tried discouraging and frightening the people of Judah to keep them from their work. Okay, this is what's going on right now as well. Esau is causing a discouragement tactics, trying to frustrate. All right, to come against this truth ultimately. Right. It says, then the local residents tried to discourage and frightened the people of Judah to keep them from their work. They bribe agents to work against them and to frustrate their plans. We got to be knowledgeable of situations that, very well could not be organic, that could be set up, that could be agents, like the situation that happened in the Baltimore camp. I believe that individual that came up was an agent. Okay. It says they bribe agents to work against them and to frustrate their plans. This went on during the entire reign of King Cyrus of Persia and lasted until the King Darius of Persia took the throne. Okay. And like the elder said, you shouldn't want to be out there on the highways and byways camping by yourself. All right. As a matter of fact, I want to pull up another portion of that video. Bear with me one moment.
Straight, right?
Yeah, man. Hey, well, and that's why it's nothing. We never not.
Let's back it up.
In a four-piece. But he suggests that he's in reach where you can hit him with a four-piece. That's a right hook, because he puts the blower down. Right hook, left hook, straight, right.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, and that's why it's nothing. We never not brothers of training, apostles, because and Lord knows, countless times, we've been in situations where we had to do whatever we did at the camps. We had people pulling guns, threatening to come back, shoot us, threatening, acting like just recently down there with the brothers in Virginia, try to pull up like he had a pistol on him and all that. So, and in that situation, the brothers was alert, and we got to just be alert. And what Apostle Tahar is saying is a very important point. Where you camp at, be aware of your surroundings. Like he said, don't go by yourself and you're going to a park in the middle of nowhere with no one around. Anything can happen. So that's a good point that the apostle was making, and that's something that should be taken heed. And really, you shouldn't be, Yahweh Shai sent the disciples out in two. So if you're by yourself, pray the Lord send another brother, or you might have to travel a little distance to get with another camp, because
Yeah. Hey, you shouldn't be in that lone wolf spirit. And if you are teaching by yourself, be in a public area and pray to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, to bring another brother to teach with you, or allow you to get, with a camp that is teaching the true doctrine, right? Jake thinks, I can just do it all by myself. I can go out in the highways and byways, teach by myself. And you have, brothers that are teaching by themselves because they're not close to a particular camp, and they, have no one to teach with them. All right. And the Lord is with those individuals, but you shouldn't be in the mindset to be, to stay that way. Right. We've had, brothers in our camp that before they crossed over to Great Millstone, so to speak, they were teaching by themselves. Right. But they, weren't comfortable like that. I know I was, I started teaching by myself, before, I before Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai brought me into, Great Millstone, but I wasn't in the mindset of, oh yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing this by myself, like I don't need nobody else to, out here with me. Nah, man, there's a lot going on out there in them streets, man, in them corners, right? Individuals coming and going, people, bug outs coming up with you, individuals threatening your life, trying to fuck with you, hey, you on the front line. I remember when I was out there teaching, I prayed to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, to lead me, to allow me to be amongst, Aki, amongst brothers, okay, like-minded individuals, allow me to be teaching alongside of someone in the same mindset, fighting for the same goal, right? And ultimately, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai allowed me to come into Great Millstone, to be around, the brothers, right? Be up under the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, right? Call law Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay. Let's get some scriptures. That lone wolf spirit is completely off, man. This is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Yahweh Shai, which strengtheneth me. Okay. You should be praying to be around brothers while you're out there teaching like the elders going into. Two are better than one. And we've had individuals leave the GMS Virginia camp to go do their own thing, to be a lone wolf, right? And that's completely off. It says, I can do all things to Yahushua, which strengtheneth me. Okay. And that includes, hey, man, you don't think the Lord can lead you to be a part of a camp? Huh? Oh, I live too far. Oh man, I can't. They're 4 hours away. They 3 hours away. Oh man, I can't. The time, my schedule. And nah, man, forget all that, man. The Lord will make a way, right? Let's go to. Matter of fact, let's bring out Luke 1:37. It says, "For with Yahweh nothing shall be impossible." So there you go, man. You got to have faith. You got to pray. You got to believe. And more situations are gonna like this are gonna happen. I mean, me and the brother Karab was speaking about this months ago, before these multiple situations that we've been seeing amongst the various different camps have been happening. We were speaking about, hey, we're about to, we're about to see situations where Jake and these other nations, Esau as well, are gonna come up and literally try to get carnal, on a high level, right? And here we are, and these things are gonna increase. And the scriptures told us about these things and warned us about these things. Okay, but this is all part of the job description of what we have to deal with. Let's close out on Isaiah 54. This is Isaiah 54:17. It says, "No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord." Okay, so we got to keep the faith. Just like this situation that happened. Hey, the Lord was with this Jake that was out there on this particular park teaching. Okay, we got to keep the faith. We got to constantly pray to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai for protection. Pray before you, open up camp. Okay. Pray when you're leaving camp. Pray when you leave the house. Always, the scriptures say, pray without ceasing. Okay. Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachaha Kodash. Double honor to the head apostle, and that is a great millstone who rule well and teach well. Till next time, Shalom.